What's going on, my friends? Today's episode is dedicated to YouTube's biggest enabler and up-and-coming watch snob, TrapVision 3D. In all seriousness, Trap is a legit dude and a true watch enthusiast. And if you want to witness his watch journey in real time, then I encourage you to follow him on his YouTube channel, which I will have the link in the description below. The reason why it's dedicated to him is because he just recently acquired a Hamilton Khaki Field, and for that to be his first watch outside of his comfort zone speaks volumes about the Khaki Field, and frankly I agree with all the reasons why he picked it. This watch has got it going on, and personally I think it's not only a fantastic gateway watch, but also a perfectly acceptable exit watch as well. So in honor of Trap's newest acquisition, let's take a closer look at this phenomenal watch. Starting off with price, this is one of the unfortunate things about the Khaki Field. It is sadly going up in price. To buy it new currently, you're looking at around $650 to $750. However, I won't fault the watch, as MSRP has remained the same even when it was cheaper on the streets. It's the gray market prices that have been going up, and I think that's just an issue that has been affecting every watch these days. Despite the rising gray market costs, I still classify this watch as a sub $500 winner, because originally it was. I'm not going to hold it against the watch if the economy is getting stupid. I personally got mine in mint condition for $300 on a watch trading site, and I encourage any of you to do the same. There's a ton of these circulating the secondhand market, so why not get it for cheap if you can. Here are the dimensions, which are simply beautiful. I try to avoid using the term perfect, but these dimensions are pretty damn close. I think it's small enough to be professionally conservative, but with a powerful lug-to-lug that still allows for wrist presence. The watch is great on the wrist. You can see how naturally it sits on my almost 8-inch wrist, so this watch can support a large spectrum of wrist sizes from small to large. The piece de resistance here is the thickness, which is just sinfully good. No watch has any right to be this perfectly sized while containing all that quality. And this watch packs a lot in its deceptively small frame. The ETA C07 is powering this watch, and why do I care about that? I care because I'm getting 80 hours of power reserve, and that is just incredible. It's such a great thing to take it off on a Monday, and then put it back on a Friday only to realize that it's still ticking away happily. Obviously, this isn't an issue for the Quartz loyalists, but my automatic fans know exactly what I'm talking about. Aside from the superb power reserve, everything here just feels tight. The crown action is as good as it gets. When you turn it on, it'll push back at you. You can feel the resistance, and not in a labored way, but in a way that exudes quality and craftsmanship. The date complication further solidifies the quality as it snaps smartly to the next day once midnight hits. This attention to detail is minor, but makes an impactful impression on anyone who wears it because it does show this relatively small watch packs a punch. It's very hard to describe, but it's just one of those things that Swiss watches are very good at when they get it right. As far as the hardware goes, it's all the things I like, such as a stainless steel case, a sapphire crystal, and a screw-down caseback. All of these things gives the watch 100 meters of water resistance, so it can handle a wrist shot on even the rainiest of days. There are many variations of the Khaki Field with a lot of different dials to choose from. I think that's great. This variation is my personal favorite. Every Khaki Field has that addictingly cool military style, but what I like about this one is the dial texturing. I'm not sure if this is officially a tuxedo style dial, but to me the concentric rings makes it look like an old record. The subtle reflective qualities gives just enough variation to make it more of a business casual watch than a rank and file field watch. However, it remains reserved enough to blend in with a military uniform. The color scheme is professional, with just black and white contrasting against each other, with a tiny hint of red from the second hand to tie everything together. You'd think there would be way too much going on such a small dial, but I find that all the numbers and text are spaced out well without looking cluttered. The minute and second hand goes all the way out to the chapter ring, which allows for me to very easily tell the time precisely without having to squint. Here's the Lumeshot, which you can see they apply to every possible spot they logically could. My only complaint with Hamilton watches is their lume, because while beautiful, never seems to glow as long as other watches in much lower price ranges. The lume would be where I think this watch has the most room for improvement. Looking at the crown, it's a push-pull crown with an embossed Hamilton logo. There's a crowned edge texturing here, which I think pairs really well with the case, and the ends are beveled slightly, making it very easy to dig your fingernail in there to pull it out. Should you be worried about the push-pull crown? Absolutely not. Has anyone here ever had a crown accidentally or unintentionally pull out? That's a serious question. If that's ever happened to you, please share in the comments section. Personally, I've never had a rogue crown, so my obsession for screw down crowns was purely emotional. Moving down to the caseback, nothing crazy going on, but it's simple and clean execution and it works well. I'm usually not a fan of open casebacks with undecorated movements, but in this case I think it is appropriate. The brushed rotor helps accentuate the tool-like qualities of this watch and pairs well with the brushed caseback itself. The bracelet appears to be a 3-link oyster style bracelet, but it's actually a 4-link oyster style bracelet. The center link is comprised of 2 separate pieces, which you can see by the faint line in the center. It was an odd design choice, and I don't know what the reasoning was behind it. It's like a totally unnecessarily complicated link design that they decided to go with for the hell of it. At first I thought it was weird, but over time it has grown on me, and regardless, it does look good. The clasp looks good as well. It's a milled dual push-button deploying clasp that retains a unique Hamilton classiness to it. However, there are only 2 micro-adjustable positions, which is stupid. If, for whatever reason, there's ever a designer that watches this video, listen to me now. Unless you have the best on-the-fly adjustment system ever, your clasp should have at least 4 micro-adjustable positions totaling in the length of at least 1 whole link. I think every Hamilton watch I've owned has only had 2 micro-adjustable positions, and it needs to end now. The finishing is killer. Most of the watch is brushed, with only the bezel having a high polished finish. The brushing is like silk and just looks absolutely beautiful. It looks sleek from every angle and reminds me of the surface of a classic airplane. This is one of those watches that looks nice without really trying to. It's not a, hey look at me watch, which kinda has the opposite effect because any watch fanatic is gonna find that their eyes are constantly straying towards it. It is because of that effortless charisma that emanates from the watch that I often reach for the Khaki Field more often than other watches that you'd think I should reach for, like the much more expensive ones. I said earlier that the Khaki Field is a gateway watch, but also an exit watch. I think it's a gateway watch because I believe it's one of the few mainstream Swiss watches that is attainable for most watch enthusiasts while also representing all of the best qualities of Swiss watches. This is one of those things where you can have your cake and eat it too, and once you've had a taste, it's hard not to get hooked. This is also an exit watch because sometimes going way out into the deep end of watches isn't always where someone wants to be. Personally, I've had a taste of the $5, $10, $15, and $20,000 watches, and I think I'm most happy and comfortable here. Outside of its quality, Hamilton also has enough street cred for you to mingle with other watch enthusiasts and not seem like a psycho. Of course, we can all pretend that we don't care about branding, but I do care about branding, and I like the fact that the Hamilton brand is one that is respected. I'm not saying that the Khaki Field is better than any of those super high-tier watches. I am not saying that at all. What I am saying is that the Khaki Field provides more than enough to keep a watch enthusiast happy. And if they decide to end their journey with the Khaki Field, that would be a good ending. So those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think. If you made it this far, a like, comment, and subscribe is always appreciated. I do very much appreciate the time you dedicate towards my Hapless Watch channel, and I look forward to the continued dialogue. But until next time, have a great week, and I'll catch you guys in the next episode. Bye.